The coffee mug slipped from my hands and shattered on the kitchen floor. My father's voice boomed across the room, rattling the air. "What did you do, Emma?" Before we dive in, leave a comment below and tell us, what would you do in this moment? Be real, we read every single comment. Let's get started. I didn't budge, I didn't cry. I stood tall, my hand resting lightly on my barely there baby bump. "I'm pregnant," I said, my voice steady, unshaken. The silence that followed was suffocating. My mother, Lorraine, froze halfway down the stairs, her face drained of color. Her hands, still damp from folding clothes, shook. "You're only 18. Are you out of your mind?" My father stepped closer, his jaw so tight the veins in his neck looked ready to pop. "Who's the guy? Some deadbeat? Some rando from a dive bar?" His breath was heavy, like my words had sucked the air out of him. "His name doesn't matter," I replied, keeping my tone even. "What matters is I love my child and I'm keeping it." He let out a harsh, bitter laugh. "You've ruined your life, Emma. We gave you everything, a home, a future, a college fund, and you tossed it all for this." My chest tightened, but I didn't waver. "I didn't toss anything. You're just mad you can't control me anymore." That pushed him over the edge. "Get out," he roared. "Pack your stuff. You want to play grown-up? Fine, live like one." I glanced at my mother, hoping for a moment she'd stand up for me. But she just shook her head, muttering, "You're such a letdown," like I'd committed a crime. And that was that. They didn't ask who the father was. They didn't ask if I had help. They didn't even ask if I was okay. They just threw me out. They didn't know I'd already signed a lease for a tiny studio apartment across town. They didn't know I had a job, and they definitely didn't know the father wasn't some lowlife. He was someone they'd never believe, even if I'd told them. I left with just a duffel bag and a fire in my gut. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I smiled because I knew something they didn't. 15 years later, when they stood in my driveway, meeting their grandson for the first time, they'd finally see what they'd thrown away. And when they learned who I'd become, their faces would turn ashen. That first night in my new place was freezing. No heat, no furniture, just a used mattress on the floor and a cracked window that whistled with every gust. I sat there with a can of soup and a phone that never rang. No texts from friends. Not even a word from my mom. I wasn't surprised. I was the disgrace, the daughter who'd wrecked her life. But I wasn't broken, not yet, because I had my baby, and I had a job. 3 weeks before the blowout, I'd quietly taken a receptionist gig at a private medical clinic just outside Raleigh. The pay was modest, but the doctor who hired me, Dr. Weston, treated me like a human. He didn't care that I was 18 or pregnant. He just said, "Work hard and you've got a spot here." So I showed up every morning at 6:30 a.m. and stayed late. My belly grew and so did my determination. No handouts. No sympathy. At night, I took free online courses, accounting, business law, economics, anything I could find. I wasn't just going to scrape by. I was going to become someone they'd never expect. I stopped checking my old social media. Seeing my cousin Sierra's graduation photos with my mom liking every post stung more than I let on. I blocked it all out. At 7 months pregnant, I was juggling the clinic job during the day and a call center gig at night. One day, I collapsed outside a bus stop. I hadn't eaten, hadn't slept. I was barely 20 and I was sinking.
I can't tell you the full story in this short video. If you want to see the full story, the link is given below. Click on it to watch the full story.